Hi, I'm Shandy, and teenagers should not mess with sexual entities.
Period.
Period. And the end all.
Full stop.
Full stop.
Period. Hi, I'm Craig. And if you feel someone touching your thigh, it might not be your someone.
Bum, bum, bum. Hi, I'm Kylie, and upon the rolling gray storm, a gray man rides the wind, warning of what's to come. And this is Seance with My Siblings, Love You to Death edition, Valentine's Day 2025. Welcome to the Seance.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so the legend of the Gray Man of Pawley's Island is one of love and loss, and it takes us back a little over 200 years to the story of a hopeful young couple, a rising storm, and a tragic loss. A howling wind rose over the marshes in the coastal region of South Carolina one fateful day in 1822. A young man, eager to propose to his fiancée, bustled along the coast in an attempt to beat the storm. And as the storm grew nearer and nearer, the man decided to take a shortcut through the marshes. As the wind, rain, and fog rose from the coast, the man found himself trapped in quicksand and drowned.
Oh.
Later, his devastated fiancée was taking a mournful stroll along the beach when she encountered the ghost of the man she lost.
Oh.
He offered her a warning as a goodbye. He urged her to leave the island due to an impending storm. She heeded the warning of the man that she had loved, and she and her family left the island. Upon her return, she found her family's home to be one of the few that were left undamaged by the storm.
Sick.
Sick. The man's spirit has haunted the shores nearby ever since, gowned in a misty gray, searching for the woman he loved and warning others, especially young lovers and newlyweds, so that they don't meet the same fate as him.
Oh, what a sweetie.
So cool.
He is a sweetie. He's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
I'm so sad. But look at him living his best afterlife and like still
protecting.
being a good person
Yeah.
in spirit, like his original energy form, sans meat suit.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, he's a cool dude. There's a legend of a ghostly man dressed in a long gray overcoat and hat who walks the beaches and marshes surrounding Pawley's Island and stretching to other shores of South Carolina. Sightings of the spectral figure have persisted beyond the first reported sighting in 1822. In fact, for those who live near or on Pawley's Island, a glimpse of the Gray Man is not only a harbinger for major storms and hurricanes, but it's believed that beholding the Gray Man is a promise of protection, indicating that whoever should see the Gray Man, their house will be spared. But there are also legends that the spirit makes house calls.
Ooh.
Oh.
So, in October of 1954, a young couple were spending their honeymoon on Pawley's Island. It was their first night together as husband and wife. An ominous knocking came at their door at 5 o'clock in the morning. The man cautiously crept down the stairs and answered the door, only to find a strange man in crumpled gray clothing with his facial features obscured by a gray hat. The man could smell the salt of the ocean perfuming the strange man. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. And the air around him. The groom stood, enraptured by the spectral figure, and watched him disappear before his eyes. The man was not unfamiliar with the story of the Gray Man, and he knew that he and his wife needed to leave, so they packed their things and left. Hurricane Hazel battered the shores of South Carolina the very next day. Technology had not been able to predict the path of the storm, as it is today, the warnings were in place. Wind speeds got close to 140 to 150 miles an hour. It created an 18-foot storm surge.
No.
Oh, yikes.
That's bad.
The storm decimated the island, leveling homes and taking lives. But the newlyweds, who would have been fast asleep when the storm began to surge, had escaped just in time.
Cool.
Thanks to the Gray Man. That was in the 1950s.
Oh, wow.
Then, but wait, there's more.
There's more.
During Hurricane Floyd, Pawley's Island resident Glenn Cox had his own encounter with the Gray Man. As the storm rolled in, Glenn stayed on the island out of a sense of duty. Most everyone else had evacuated. There was no electricity on the island, and all was dark. As the storm got worse, Glenn had to decide whether or not to leave the island. As he was making a trip around the island in his car, he received an unmistakable sign. As he was passing the Pelican Inn, he noticed an illumination in one of the windows. Chills rolled over him, as he knew nobody was in the building, and even more strange, there was no electricity. The glow was a yellowish green, and in the middle of it, a lone figure stood. The Gray Man. That was enough of a sign for Glenn.
Yep, go off.
It's like, I'm good.
So he took off to evacuate the island. But when he got to the low spot, the water was surging across the road about 3 to 4 feet deep. So he had to turn around to the North Causeway, and he made it off the island unscathed. Hurricane Floyd was responsible for 57 deaths, but thanks to the Gray Man, Glenn was not one of them. Then, in September of 1989, Hurricane Hugo started on its path toward South Carolina. It was predicted to develop into a Category 4 storm. Jim and Carla Moore took special care to prepare for the storm. Their insurance had just been canceled due to Jim refusing to replace a roof that was not leaking or damaged, so they were preparing to lose everything.
Ew. Just replace your roof, Jim.
Yeah.
Holy
Freaking
shit,
Jim.
dude. Like, replace a roof or lose your whole house. Come on.
They didn't know the hurricane was coming, though,
But they live in hurricane area.
Fair,
Mhm.
true.
You always want insurance, especially when you live. Okay, sorry. Just adult me is going, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Freaking Jim. Jim and Carla took a walk on the beach every day, and the days leading up to the Hurricane Hugo were no exception. Hand in hand, they were taking one final stroll down the beach before evacuating. They were alone on the beach, enjoying the sound of crashing waves and the company of each other. Then they realized they were not alone. They saw a man. He looked to them like a real person, taking one last walk on the beach like they were. But as they got closer, preparing to speak to the man, he vanished. At first, they did what most rational people do in the face of the paranormal. They pretended it didn't happen.
You're supposed to say, oh, a ghost.
They were stressed about the storm and their house, and maybe they had just mistaken him for vanishing. It was too much to deal with at the moment, so they gaslit themselves into believing there was nothing strange about it. They went about their day with a nagging feeling in the back of their minds that perhaps something strange truly did happen.
Mm-hmm.
On September 22nd, Hurricane Hugo hit land and had surges of 21 feet with winds of 135 to 175 miles an hour. The average hurricane diameter is about 300 miles, while Hurricane Hugo was 600 miles.
Ooh.
It looked like this storm might destroy everything. The storm destroyed bridges, brought boats several miles into shore, and swallowed some buildings whole. When the storm subsided and it seemed like all might be lost, unlike previous smaller storms, everyone on Pawley's Island survived this storm. There was damage and a lot of people lost a lot of things, but everyone survived. Amidst the destruction and the wreckage, people wondered where the Gray Man had gone because nothing seemed salvageable. Jim and Carla Moore, along with their daughter, expected to see their home in ruins, just as all the houses they saw on their way back home. The roads were covered in debris and ruin, so they had to park and walk to their home. As they passed bits of destruction and loss, they saw a roof rising above the ruin. Their house stood, with no damage but the loss of a screen door.
Got so fucking lucky.
The floors were dry. Letters on the fridge hung undisturbed.
Wild.
Everything was
Wow.
just as they had left it. It was as they stood in awe that Carla Moore finally said aloud what she had been thinking. We saw the gray man.
And they are so
lucky.
So lucky.
Sightings have continued year after year. Previously reported sightings include before Hurricane Hazel in 1954, before Hurricane Hugo in 1989, and before Hurricane Florence in 2018. This apparition was caught by paranormal investigators Jim and Billy McClincy on a live feed during Hurricane Florence.
Are they brothers or are they married?
I do not know. I didn't look that far into it.
All right, that's fair.
And most recently, a perceived photo of the legendary South Carolina ghost was taken in 2023 during Hurricane Idalia. And we could probably post links and pictures to this, too.
We probably could.
We probably could.
Will we?
But we'll
I
try.
don't know.
Maybe. Jeez. We are what we are. Pawley's Island has embraced the legend of the Gray Man, and there are several businesses who have taken the Gray Man as a mascot, including Gray Man Spirits, Gray Man Gallery, and Gray Man Scoops. So alcohol, art, and ice cream.
Yes.
I like all those things.
Yeah.
This sounds like a great time. We should go to Pawley's Island.
We should.
Mhm.
Some wonder why the Gray Man picks some people over others. He tends to favor couples and lovers, but how does the Gray Man decide who to help? Perhaps he is only powerful enough to protect one home. Perhaps he picks couples or people that remind him of himself and his fiancée. What do you guys think?
It seems like he can only help one person or like one house, one
Mhm.
family. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's not like almighty powerful.
Yeah. He's just
Yeah,
one dude.
He's just one dude.
Gray man. Yeah, I think it's just, he's kind of just choosing. And if it's only couples, then yes, he'll only do the couple. But
Yes.
It's mostly
just having
couples
to-
except for Glenn.
mhm.
Everyone else was a couple.
Oh, Glenn.
Maybe just picking who he likes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe he knew Glenn was like destined to marry someone
Mhm.
Maybe.
and it had to happen.
Or maybe he had married someone and
Yeah.
yeah. I
Didn't
don't know.
want him to be the lost husband like he
Yeah.
had been.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Mm. I
Hmm.
think now that you read the story, I swear there is an unsolved mysteries about this
Ooh.
that I saw in the long ago in the before time
Before.
when I was young,
Okay.
like a child.
There is an episode of American Supernatural, episode 1 actually, that is the legend of the Gray Man.
I'm thinking of not that.
Okay.
So I remember this when I was little, and I remember they had the Gray Man actor like walking along the beach, mourning, like a reenactment.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of what that
Okay.
was. But
Yeah.
this came out in 2014, I
Now
think.
this was
so.
like back in the probably late 80s, early 90s.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
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 Highly, that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
He's a cool
Seems
dude.
like a sweetheart.
Yeah.
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 Cool guy.
And people don't seem scared really when they see him. They might like question their sanity. Like, why am I seeing a person who disappeared?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But he just wants lovers
Good vibes.
and newlyweds
To not die.
Yeah.
to have what he couldn't have.
Right. And to not lose their whole house.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell
Great,
yeah.
man.
Any other
Yeah.
question?
Mm-mm.
Okie dokie.
Nope.
And then I just had some other sources. Tells of the Gray Man, James W. Smith Vacation Rentals, Pawley's vacationrentals.com, The Gray Man Ghost, Wikipedia.org, and The Mysterious Legend of the Gray Man in South Carolina, WKML.com.
Woo!
Woo!
Thanks, Kai.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay. I will
Okay.
start. Let's
As I look
go.
at you pointedly.
All right. So I have a story here from Reddit _paranormal. Hey, I'm Chrissy. Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like
It's Stranger Things edit from TikTok.
Yes.
Okay.
I have not
That would
seen
be
Stranger
why.
Things.
I've only seen part of the first season.
It's pretty good.
same.
No, it was
I
really
keep
good. We got
hearing that.
distracted and started watching something else and just never went back to it.
Yeah, I would recommend.
Always told that I just never do it.
Yeah.
I need to just sit down and watch it. So Chrissy says,
Grizzly, wake up!
I don't like, oh gosh.
Okay.
So recently I've been binge watching paranormal story times on YouTube, mostly from Louis Lane, Haley Reith,
Oh, Loey Lane?
Louis Lane, yes.
Yep.
Not Louis, Louis.
I like Haley, but sometimes I'm like, girl, I don't know about you.
Mhm.
I don't know about you.
But
I like Loey, though. She has lots of good stories.
Ooh, I'll have to check her out.
I thought you just said you did.
No, this is or Chrissy.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. I thought you were
No, no, guys.
Sorry. Okay.
This is Chrissy.
Chrissy's been watching all
Chrissy
of this
has been
paranormal
watching all the
content.
paranormals as she should.
Yeah.
And also Harmony Nice. Haven't heard of her.
I haven't heard of her.
Mm-mm.
Shannon Rose.
Nope.
Nope.
Mm-mm. And it got me in the mood to share one of mine.
Sweet. Thanks.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Chrissy. String of events have been on my mind lately, and after getting a tarot reading done, I feel like these events may actually be connected. Mind you, I've always been open to the paranormal, but without hard evidence to prove its validity. I tend to look to these experiences and their paranormal explanations as more entertaining in nature than something to be taken seriously. It does not make for a creepy and fun story, so I thought I'd share. It's a bit long because I don't want to break up the story into pieces, so please bear with me.
Never apologize for length. We need all the details.
Yes,
Yes.
more story, the better.
Yes.
In the fall of 2013, I had begun to feel a presence in my home. Of course, feeling a presence is very vague and doesn't prove much, but I just had the feeling I wasn't alone.
Which most of us should know what that feels like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're usually very correct about that feeling.
Chrissy, stop gaslighting
Chrissy?
yourself. If you feel that way, you're probably not alone.
Chrissy, wake up.
Yeah.
The feeling wasn't negative, though, and it didn't scare me. If anything, it felt like something I knew. It felt familiar, comfortable, and safe. One night, I was getting ready for bed, and I felt that presence again. I brushed it off, feeling hyper aware of the shadows around me. Yes, we've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was in bed and I was trying to fall asleep, I was startled by the sensation that someone had just climbed into bed beside me. The bed shifted as if under someone's weight, but no one was there. Not knowing what to do about it, I simply pulled up the covers, rolled over, and went to bed. Yep.
Oh,
Mood.
yeah, sounds right.
Yeah. I
As
have done that before.
Yes.
Same. Same.
covers equal safe.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Every now and then, I'd also catch the outline of a person or movement in the corner of my eye, disappearing immediately, though that never bothered me much because it could have been anything. It was probably just a trick of the light or my imagination creating something out of a shadow. So I never thought much of those experiences as they could be explained away really easily. But I guess it might be worth mentioning now. My boyfriend at the time was also beginning to spend a lot more time at my place. Sure enough, he began to feel this presence as well.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I like the validation.
Yeah.
Yes, that's always a 10 out of 10 feeling.
I always love it when someone else experiences something with
Like at the same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
yes, that's always good.
but you will never see the
I'll
black
never
orb.
see the black orb. That's for y'all. That's
yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
They are.
it are.
Mhm.
Which made me feel less like a crazy person because he was almost validating for me that something could have actually been going on. Yes.
Mhm.
I never told him about these experiences either. Knowing that, he was a wimp when it came to the paranormal, and I actually liked having him around so often. That's funny. So, the difference for him, though, was that the feeling wasn't so comfortable. It freaked him out and felt unwelcome.
Oh, I know why. I think I know why.
Oh, yes. Unwelcome and uneasy. Not wanting to freak him out further, though, I chose not to express I was feeling a presence too. Savage. My way of dealing with these things, paranormal or not, is to pretend they don't exist, to ignore it until it goes away.
Yeah.
And I tried to tell him to do the same. It did make me curious why our impressions of whatever was present was so different, though. Why was he so afraid of it, and why was I comforted by it? Maybe I was just a weirdo after all. No, ma'am. Quite a bit of time goes by, and I'm nearing the end of the semester. It's our friend's birthday, and a bunch of us are going out, but I end up deciding to stay back to complete an assignment. Felt. I had due at midnight. I finished my essay with 5 minutes to spare before the deadline, and as I breathe that sigh of relief after typing like a maniac, fueled entirely by coffee and adrenaline. Amen.
I've been there.
Go off, queen. Yes. I noticed a text from my boyfriend. He's just letting me know that he'll be staying at our friend's place tonight, but that he'll probably need a ride home in the morning. Knowing this, I lock the doors and get ready for bed. Nothing is strange, nothing is out of the ordinary, and I fell asleep effortlessly. I'm gently awoken by the feeling of someone caressing my hip. Bum, bum, bum.
Sexy.
The hand feels like my boyfriend's hands, large and meaty, and I assume it's him. Large and meaty. And I assume it's him. I smile and let out a satisfied sound as I... that was scary, so sorry. And I feel like his...
I bet it was exactly like that.
Yeah. Rip. As I feel his hand slide over my hip, down to my thigh, and back up to my waist, I enjoy the sensation with my eyes closed, still laying on the left side. I feel calm, loved, protected, and I feel happy that my boyfriend decided to skip out on the after party to come home to me. I wiggle my hips, inviting him closer, but he doesn't take the hint and keeps caressing me. Come cuddle, I whisper. His hand stops. His hand stops moving, and now I just rests on my hip. I turn my head to look at him. It's too dark to see any details, but there's a window behind him, and the light coming in from the street lamps outside make his silhouette visible. It looks like my boyfriend. The silhouette is tall, large, with broad shoulders, but when I look at him, he takes his hand away. I pat the empty space on the bed between him and me and say, "Come to bed." The way that his head and shoulders are positioned, I can tell he's looking directly at me. He doesn't respond. He just stands up slowly and starts walking around my bed and towards my door.
Ooh.
As he's walking, I sit up on the bed and ask, "What are you doing?" "Come to bed." He stops at my door and turns to look at me, and I'm confused and a little frustrated with him. "Speak," I think. I begin to crawl to the foot of my bed towards him as I say, "Where are you going?" But he goes into the hallway within a fraction of a second. I'm in the hallway too, but I'm completely alone. I stop suddenly, startled that no one was in front of me, and so fucking confused. I was gonna say freaking and then frucking.
Okay.
Haven't we all been there?
Yes.
Yeah.
In a full body apparition, and I'm like, wait a minute, where did the
Where did
person
it
go?
go?
Huh?
Where are the people
Where
go?
are my boyfriend? For starters, the hallway was too long for anyone to have walked down in that time. It took me to turn the corner.
Mm-hmm.
My floors are also creaky as hell, and there is no way anyone would have walked down it without a sound. It just couldn't happen. I turn on the hallway light before going into my washroom, still hoping to see my boyfriend, but then I turn on the light. I find that it's empty. I check every single room in the condo, turning on every single light, and come to the realization that I was completely alone. I sat on my couch in silence for a while, thinking about what had happened. Did I just see a ghost? Did I hallucinate the whole thing? I even started researching the hypnopomic state, where someone wakes during the REM sleep cycle, but it describes people speaking incoherently and falling back asleep or hallucinating something for a few seconds. A common trait is that sleepers who experience this are usually in a confused and sleepy state, but I wasn't. I was wide awake. Having a much larger experience than documented during hypnopomia. Hypnopomia? Yeah, hypnopomia. That sounds okay.
How are
Is that
it
right?
spelled?
HYPNOPOMPIA. Hypnopompia?
I don't know.
Okay. Even continuing to hallucinate after getting up and walking, I stopped questioning and figured that it didn't matter anyway. Whatever happened, happened. I wasn't going to dwell on it. I did question why I felt so calm, though. I was confused, but I always thought if I'd seen a ghost face to face that I'd be more afraid. Okay, fair. Throughout the experience, I just felt comforted, happy, and protected. I couldn't stress how protected I felt. A week or two went by, and I hadn't even thought about what had happened, nor had I mentioned it to anyone. I passed it off as a hallucination and moved on until one night my boyfriend and I decided to binge watch some Netflix, as you should. We moved my mattress to the living room and set it down in between the couch and the TV, and we eventually fell asleep, where when I woke up, I looked around and saw my boyfriend sitting on the couch with a cup of coffee. He was already looking at me. He smiled and said, "Good morning." I smiled, but something about him seemed off. His body language read a little tense to me. "Is everything okay?" I asked. He just shrugged, and the corner of his mouth curled into a half smile, as if he was trying to reassure me that he was okay. Just not super okay. It was just some sleep paralysis again. It was just really fucking creepy, that's all.
Wait, was he not really there? Or was the boyfriend really there drinking coffee?
Oh no, that's what the boyfriend's saying.
Okay.
Yes.
So the boyfriend is now speaking.
In quotations, yes. It was just some sleep paralysis again. It was just really fucking creepy. Okay. That's all. "I can't seem to shake it off," he said.
Okay.
Sleep paralysis was pretty common for him. He'd have it once every few months. He was used to it, but it was always unnerving for him, especially when he'd hallucinate at the same time.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Sounds right.
That sounds rough. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy I do not have sleep paralysis demons.
Same.
I've only had it happen twice.
Oh, and you sound no bueno.
It's not fun. No, I don't recommend it.
Bet. Perfect. "Want to tell me about it?" I asked, rolling over towards him. He tilted his head and described it to me. He said he'd fallen asleep on the couch a little after I did and woke to find himself completely paralyzed. He thought to himself, "Shit, not this again," but was horrified to see that when he looked towards me, a shadow-like figure of a man was sitting on the mattress beside me. I immediately got chills, but didn't interrupt him. He said that it was watching me sleep, slowly using its hand to caress my hip. Nope. Normally, I don't fight when I get sleep paralysis. I've had it so often, I know that it's best to just try and fall back asleep, but it was touching you, and that fucked me up. He told me. He tried to scream at the top of his lungs to warn me or wake me up, but no sound came out. He thrashed his limbs about and tried to roll off the couch and onto the mattress beside me, but no movement came. He figured even looking at him like it found it funny was desperately he was trying to protect me, almost laughing at how powerless he was to do anything. Eventually it went away and my boyfriend was able to fall back asleep, and I was a little shook, to say the least.
Fair.
I would also be shook if... I sat in silence, sitting up beside him at this point, since the story was too rousing to listen to laying down. I bit my lip as I toyed with the idea of telling him about my experience, but eventually I did. I told him everything that I've seen, experienced, and hallucination I'd had, and how I was trying to ignore it all. He just sat there in silence after I told him, but after a little while he said, "That's fucked." I told him how it never scared me though, that it felt safe to me, comforting even, but he just thought that was weird. Eventually he started referring to it as my ghost boyfriend. And it's become a inside joke. Neither of us had any weird experiences like that again, but we did feel the same presence every so often. We'd ignored it every time.
Probably good not to feed into the spirit's crush on her.
Yeah.
But now the boyfriend, he doesn't want the boyfriend around.
Right, yeah.
He's not into the boyfriend. He doesn't want to be a throuple.
He wants the girl for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
A few months had passed, and I was now at the end of my winter 2014 semester. I had left my city to go back home because my Uncle Norm had passed away. The wake was taking place all weekend, and the funeral would be on Monday morning. On top of this, I had a real hard ass of a professor who literally would not give me an extension so that I could attend the funeral. Ugh, that's rough.
That is fucking rude.
So I had no choice but to pull an all-nighter and work around the clock to get my end of the term assignment done. On Monday morning, my family left to the funeral parlor as I'd finally finished the assignment after working all night. I rushed to get dressed and wash my face, grabbed some coffee, and ran out the door to drive the hour and a half back to my college to hand in my assignment. Ooh. With any luck, I'd be there with 5 minutes to spare. That was enough time to pack and run to his office. Eventually, I was 15 minutes away and ended up getting into major accident. I had fallen asleep on the road and woke up the sight of my car speeding 90 kilometers an hour.
Oh, shit.
Directly into a rock well only a few feet in front of me. A rock wall only a few feet in front of me. I don't even know how to describe the experience. I can barely explain it to anyone. I didn't feel afraid. I didn't think about the fact that I was about to die. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I felt like I'd gone into autopilot and that my brain was focusing purely on survival. I used one arm to brace myself and one arm to shield my eyes from the glass. It felt like 1 second had gone by and the car was still, but later I learned that I'd done a complete front flip without a thought.
Oh.
Yeah, that's wild.
Whoa.
Without a thought, I undid my seatbelt, opened my door, and sprinted. I'm not sure why I sprinted. I didn't think the car was going to explode or anything. I just felt like I had to run. I can get.
Brother, after doing a front flip.
Yeah. Wild. The front was completely smashed in. My windows were completely shattered. The car was totaled, but for some reason, the driver's seat was in perfect condition. If anyone had been in the passenger's seat, they surely would have been dead. I have no doubt about that. My mind had come back to me, and I remembered that adrenaline can sometimes act as a painkiller, so I began to search my body for any injuries, but could not find anything. Nothing but a bruise on my right shin. I even remembered that I had some weed in my glove compartment and didn't want anyone finding that, so I ran back to the car to grab it and was quickly able to bury it in the ditch nearby. Damn.
Buries it?
I mean,
when cops come to the scene, you don't want that shit anywhere on your person.
Yeah.
Or in,
Yeah,
you want that buried.
You want to bury it.
Yeah. Or else they'll be no bueno.
Yeah.
Before a car even drove by, I hadn't even realized that I'd had my accident literally 3 minutes away from a hospital. And the first 3 people to stop were all nurses from that hospital. That's wild.
That is wild.
I let a lady in scrubs examine me really quickly while the other person called the police and another looked through my car to find my cell phone so that I could call my family. They were in the church during the service that I called and immediately rushed to meet me at the hospital. I was being sent out to put a precaution, I was being sent to out of precaution.
Oh, she went to the hospital just as a precaution.
Yeah, okay. I was reading that and I was like, what?
She's like, I'm fine, but she went to the hospital just as a precaution.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because he just did a fucking front flip.
Yeah.
Internal bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least I got the extension on my project, but damn.
It's a pretty...
At what cost?
Right,
way to go about getting an extension.
Initially, I didn't think my surviving this accident was paranormal in nature whatsoever, but my parents, being religious, 100% believe that my uncle Norman protected me. I thought it was a fluke. It was just the angle at which I hit the rocks, but I did thank my lucky stars that I was alive. Though I did still feel weird about the whole thing, it felt like I'd never been in an accident, like it was just some dream I had. So I never really took it seriously. People asked me how it felt, but I didn't feel anything before, during, or after the accident. All emotion left my body during the accident, even to this day. I don't really feel like it was really me, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously I knew it was me in my physical body, but it wasn't me. A few months later, my cousin had chosen to see a medium. He was really close to my uncle who just passed and was curious whether he'd come through in the reading. During the reading, the medium claimed that a man named Norman was coming through and that he was his uncle, which was pretty shocking to my cousin. I wanted to believe when he told me but the part of me remained skeptical after the medium started talking about my accident. The medium said, your little cousin wasn't an accident during your uncle's funeral. He wants you to know that he saw it happening and was able to intervene and save her life. Yeah, that's wild.
What a good uncle.
Right?
Yeah.
He says he had the help of 2 other young men my cousin was intrigued and asked about who helped save me. And he said, your uncle recognized one of them. He says his name is Mitchell, but he didn't recognize the other man. It was the ghosty boy.
The ghost boyfriend?
Yes.
Well, wannabe boyfriend?
The ghost wannabe
boo.
boyfriend. Her boo fang.
I love it. Oh.
Rib. At this point, I was a believer. Mitchell was my cousin who'd also passed away about 4 years prior. My mom and I were literally crying at my cousin as my cousin told us this. I'm even tearing up as I write this now because holy shit. Anyways, the medium had some other cool stuff to say about my uncle. After hearing about my uncle's passing, my dad and cousin got together. They bought my uncle's favorite beer and they sat and drank as they shared stories. My uncle was always a prankster, and one of his favorite things to do was shake a can of beer and hand it to someone to open.
Rude!
Savage. At a certain point, they'd had 3 beers each. As they each opened their 4th beers, the can exploded.
Shit!
Wild.
I love it.
And they started crying and laughing because it felt like my uncle had just been playing a prank on them all over again. He definitely was.
Most certainly.
The medium knew about this and said, he's laughing as he tells me this, but he also wants you to know that he was the one that made those beers explode. The reading was just too wild. There was no way in heck that he could have known any of this. That being said, he always wondered why that 3rd young man who helped save me was. I hadn't lost anyone in my life except Uncle Norm and cousin Michael and my grandfather, but he died an old man, not a young man in his 20s. 4 years have now passed, and it was only just today that I decided to get a tarot reading done. I had a few bucks to spare and thought I'd do it for fun. I asked about the spirit that my boyfriend and I had thought we'd seen, and I wish I'd taken a picture of the cards to remember them better. But I do remember that I got 5 cards. One was about a soulmate, another about a past life, another about protection, and another about Mother Nature, and another about confusion. She commented on how the Mother Nature card seemed out of place, and she didn't know how to connect it to the rest of the cards. But she told me what to see if I could connect it to anyway later on. From this, the tarot reader gathered that the spirit I'd experienced was a confused spirit who had died a long time ago and hadn't moved on, but that he was a soulmate of mine from a past life. We'd been in love and he died as a young man. She said that sometimes lost spirits are drawn to the souls of people they were connected to. So even though I had no memory of him in this life, our souls were still connected. She said that his purpose was to serve as my protector, which he was around, and to help guide me to my true purpose.
So what if he was not lost? He's just there as one of her spirit people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spirit team that is
That's what I'm
around
thinking.
her.
They're always lost trap souls.
Mm-hmm.
Or not.
Or not. Or they know what they're doing.
Autonomy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just work here.
True. Same.
Yes. She also said that it was likely that he'd moved on once he'd done that for me. Okay.
Maybe.
Perfect.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Or now he realized he can come back when he wants to just keep a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Keep an eye, have a visit.
She still didn't know the Mother Nature card meant, but at this point I'd made the connection around the time of the accident was also around the same time I'd gone vegan.
Oh.
Initially for environmental purposes and became an active supporter of the Green Party of Canada.
Media.
And once I thought more deeply about the spirit itself, it occurred to me that I hadn't felt his presence since that time in my life. I also ended up finding out that my boyfriend at that time was cheating on me, which I felt could maybe explain.
No wonder he hated him.
Yeah.
Yes. I felt could maybe explain why the spirit made him feel unwelcome and fearful.
Yeah.
Either my ghost boyfriend was jealous or he knew that this guy wasn't good for me.
You know, I don't think he was jealous.
I think he knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like everything came full circle today, and I don't believe I can call myself a skeptic anymore.
Good.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, period. I mean, I'll always be a skeptic, but this, I don't know. Okay. I guess I could be a series of super specific and amazing conditions, but at this point, it's too unbelievable to even be considered. And that is all she wrote.
And that is all she wrote.
There's no way that's coincidence.
No.
You can keep gaslighting yourself.
Yeah.
It makes you
Literally.
feel better.
Girl boss. Gaslight.
Gatekeep. But no, that was ghosts and your spirit guides and
Mhm.
protectors.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he was this lost, confused, wayward soul.
No, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was there with a purpose.
Yeah.
He was not lost or confused.
Yeah.
Oh, and he missed you.
Yeah.
Aw. Very sweet.
Very sweet. I liked that one.
I liked
Yeah.
it too.
I tried to find something like that. I wanted to find something like that.
Yeah.
But me being me,
Oof.
did not find anything like that.
It was buried.
It was actually
Took me a lot of different
Well, like,
searches.
before this, I've read so many sweet stories like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
right.
And then when I go looking, they're all hiding from me.
I know. I looked on like your ghost stories and Reddit and like
Everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this would be so easy. It was not.
Mm.
So I bring you something that's more lusty than romantic. I too used our paranormal for my
yeah.
research because I wanted firsthand encounters
Mhm.
of succubi.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
like, it's not really romantic, but it is sexy.
That's what Valentine's Day is
Yeah.
all about.
Yes.
Sexy time.
Leave it to me to find sexual entities to talk about.
As we need that balance.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what a succubus or an incubus is, a lot of people would call them sex demons. I mean, but I don't think of demons as how like other people would think of demons, like these
mhm.
evil entities. No, like
No.
they're just sexual entities. They're not
Yeah.
evil.
No.
Some of them might be way more aggressive than others, or you might piss them off
Yeah.
because you're being a shithead.
Don't be a shithead.
Don't be a shithead and don't mess around with shit you're not supposed to be.
Mm-mm.
hmm
So, this story is about someone who fucked around and found out with a succubus.
Oh.
Here we go. This is
Buckle
by...
in.
Yeah. Hold on to your butt.
Yes.
This is by Encounter TSTA or TISTA. I don't know. This is them. No, not me. First, just some general disclaimers. Like we all do when we read it. Apparently.
Apparently.
I am not religious. Never have been. I have never taken drugs. I have. Not anyway. Or any specific medications or have a history in my family of mental illness, at least not ones that's acknowledged. Everybody has a family history of mental illness too. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. This was all weird for me and turned me into a believer. Kind of.
Oh,
Mm.
the cat.
The kind of.
Well, before you're ready, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. Like, when I hear people say things that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't even bat an eye now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I feel sick. It's so scary. And I'm like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
not, though.
We're conditioned to think it's scary because the way that society has associated it with
Yeah.
scary and bad things.
Yeah.
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 When really, a lot of things, it's just
It was
not
just
scary.
vibing.
Yeah. Straight vibes.
Yeah. More on that later. Maybe I am just crazy. Gaslight, gaslight, gaslight. And it's all in my head, but let me explain. Oh, this started when I was in high school, I never really was interested in anything like this. All I remember hearing about a succubus from a friend who was a guy, this man's grammar, who was a real into demonic stuff type of guy.
Sick.
Metal. He was saying how he tried to summon one, a succubus, I'm assuming, and failed. Mm-hmm. I was interested, so I tried the method he said. I liked the cool paranormal stuff and always opened myself up to the idea of it, but never really believed it either. Typical. So you're attempting to summon something that you don't really believe in. This is going to end well. I can tell. I can tell. And I've, read it. So. Yeah. Oh, teenagers.
Teenagers.
Horny teenagers.
Their frontal lobe is not
developed. Nope. I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby. Okay, here we go. I attempted the ritual.
Bum, bum, bum.
It was the basic letter to Lilith. Like you should totally
so basic.
Yeah. Super smart, man. I used blood rather than the other option. I think he's meaning semen.
Semen.
Men of the sea.
Sailors.
He used his own blood rather than his sailors.
God.
I remember just burning it off my mother's candle in the kitchen. Everyone was asleep.
Yay, blood magic.
Then I went to bed. And this kid is just like, here, Lilith, have my blood. Okay.
Go off.
I mean, I might do that, but you shouldn't. Anyway.
Yeah.
I woke up at like 4 a.m. in the morning for no reason at all.
No reason, huh?
Yeah. Well, here's the reason. I felt a weird, tingly feeling, and well, yeah, it felt nice. It was over areas.
Oh.
I think he means his dick.
Probably.
I won't go into detail as it becomes not safe for work, but I'll try to explain it as this. Parts of my body tingled. I wonder if his was ball sack and his anus too. Or just his dick. I don't know.
All of the above.
All of it. It felt warm and I could imagine what was happening. It felt like an actual experience, but more sensational, I guess. So like more a sensory than a living person there making him tingly. I guess is the best way to describe it. I tried to whisper or think to myself, are you real?
Are you real?
What's your name?
Oh my gosh.
I opened myself up to the idea that this was real because what I felt definitely felt real. After the experience ended, I was able to fall back to sleep. I woke up pondering on what just happened. The fact I got no response, I was left with the theory on the table that it was a placebo of some sort. I mean, the logical thought would be it had to be a placebo if there wasn't any more to it, right? Right. However, I still wanted to learn more about others' experiences. Were they similar? After Googling other stories, it seemed to line up. The first night is a sensational type of experience and sometimes lack of communication. Many who had similar experiences claimed communication only happened after 2 to 3 sessions. So this entity is just your own personal sex worker. Cool, dude.
Yeah, that's how that is.
Yeah. I don't know about you, man. I mean, you were a teenager. I will give you some grace.
Just a smidge.
Yes. So the next night, I laid there waiting for something to happen. Note, it was only maybe 12 to 1 a.m. at this point. Nothing happened. I went to sleep thinking it was just the placebo. I woke up again in the middle of the night. I later assumed it was sometime mid 4 a.m. after this.
Yeah,
okay.
4:30
last night. Yeah. And I experienced the same treatment. So tingly bowels.
Taints tickled.
Except this time it felt, well, more physical? Question mark? Like actual feeling, more of that warmth, as if it was that sir, more of that warmth as if I was with someone else. It felt tingly and not as real, but closer to it. I mean, I'm assuming he means like real sex.
Yeah.
Real tactical textile stimulation. I tried to again communicate. I failed to do so, but I heard a faint voice in my head. It was so faint I could barely hear it. I just knew it was there, I guess, but couldn't figure out if it was a voice at the time or just my imagination. Again, it finished. I checked the time. It finished or you? I don't think you're doing anything for the entity, my dude. You're just laying there. I checked the time to see it was similar. Went back to sleep and, well, the next night it happened again. This was when things were a little scary or surprising.
Oh.
It felt so real.
Ooh.
So warm.
Ooh.
Now, at the time, I was a virgin. Aww.
Aw.
I didn't know it felt real. It felt better, is all I thought. Better than the previous times. However, looking back on it 5 years later, and I think you've had sexuals now, I'm assuming, it definitely felt like the actual experience of sex with no difference. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't see anyone. I just felt the presence. I could faintly imagine someone in front of me as it happened. It was weird, but I went with it. I tried to communicate again. At least you're trying to talk.
Yeah.
And finally, I heard a voice. I heard a name. We began to just talk. Yes, this was all going on. Well, I hope so. I also got a more clear imagery in my head. It became very clear. After the experience, I still talked with what I truly believe was a succubus. After talking with her for a long time, she told me I could go to sleep. She would be here when I wake up. I remember waking up to her voice saying to do so, someone is coming. So she was telling him to wake up.
Mm.
Then right after, my dad woke me up. This was just another sign to me. This felt way too coincidental to be real. I would say this is way too coincidental to not be real.
Mm-hmm.
How would I hear that? It freaks me out when I think about these, as it just made me truly believe I had a succubus. Yes, you have personal ownership of another entity. Good job, buddy. I would go to school and people would tell me I seemed different. I felt different. I even had people tell me girls thought I was more attractive, you know?
You know?
Dead.
The boring old school gossip.
Not the boring old school
Oh, no,
gossip.
not that. That you're hotter now somehow.
Ooh.
Man.
Did you hear Tubishton is hotter?
Yeah, he just seems different somehow.
Whoa.
It's like he got his dick sucked or something.
I wonder if he'll ask me to prom.
Oh my god. You hope so, girl. Do you want me to pass him a note and see if he likes you?
Let me spray some perfume on it.
Ooh, use some of my lipstick. Kiss it.
Yes.
Moto Dodo likes you. Or whatever the fuck his name is. It's like, yes.
It's his name is come on, Encounter TSTA.
Okay.
Counter TSTA. Just
Moto.
what's that one show like Madagascar?
Oh yeah, the Moto.
Yeah,
Oh,
that one.
yeah. Oh, I thought you meant the Geez, sorry.
Don't
Ooh, that was good.
Okay. I Googled to see if others had experienced this or self-proclaimed experts, in quotation marks, said this was normal, with no previous interest in the topic of succubi, he means. I had no knowledge to know this and make myself out to be in this situation through my own delusions. So when I saw the actual full dedicated long time running websites and YouTube channels that said it could give you an aura of being more sexually attractive to certain individuals with the same aura. Ooh. I was once again getting even more convinced I was experiencing this. I told my friend who originally told me about all of this, and he helped me find what he claimed reliable sources that matched my experience. He was really interested in it. I kept talking with my succubus, who felt like they were always in my head all day long. Sometimes she'd make me feel awkwardly aroused. Isn't that just being a teenager?
Yeah.
And those sensations randomly and awkwardly in timings.
Perhaps homie just didn't know anything about sexuality.
Maybe.
He was just having like wet dreams and he's like, it's a succubus.
Or he's just getting horny in class.
Yeah.
That'll happen.
That'll happen.
Especially when you're bored.
Oof.
So he was having arousal at awkward times, like in class or on the bus. I mean, sometimes those buses be vibrating. It took a while to get used to suppressing the sensation she gave me. At this point in time, it has been 2 to 3 weeks. I've spent experiencing this stuff every night. Man, you must be tired. I asked questions that felt very direct about succubi themselves, paranormality, etc. I would then Google to see if I could find fits to such answers I got. Oh, this was my way of trying to be rational. When and where is this just up to my own perception, and when does it coincide with others' experiences that line up too much to deny the possibility that it's true? The skepticism was good, but also annoyed my succubus. She claimed in order to advance, I have to fully just blindly accept what I'm told and that I was being told the truth. One thing I felt I needed was, in order to fully accept everything blindly, I had to be able to just full out see them as an individual spirit, something others had claimed to do. At this point, I only saw where I felt and believed she was in a faint imagery, kind of like how movies portray ghosts. They're there, but faint and transparent in a way. Like that, but if the opacity was at like maybe 10 to 15%.
Okay.
I had a rough outline and some features, but that was it. How do you know she hot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she's opaque.
Maybe she's like, I look better like this, believe me. That's how I would feel if I were her.
Oh, whatever. You would slay.
She hasn't had 3 kids, I bet, though. Anyway.
Homies are into MILFs, my dude.
You're weird. However, those who claim to have seen a succubus partner claim they see them 100%, while others do not. So, I don't know, it could be either way. So at this point, I'm at a crossroad. I could fully blindly throw away skepticism and my fact checks to adventure this weird situation I put myself in. Or I could keep going with what I'm currently doing. I decide the latter option. I did ask if that would make her leave. She stated it wouldn't. So things progressed, as which I kept asking questions or asked her just to explain more. I would fact check and repeat it. Nothing really changed, and neither did the experience at night. This went on for another month before anything happened. One night after the experience, I went to sleep. I woke up only to not hear her talking to me like normal, or even respond at all. I couldn't see any sort of outline, and I felt no presence of her. Yeah, she needed to go home. That day was the first night I didn't have any late night experience I had had for months. I went 2 days like this before searching for answers. The only answers I could find were that I pissed her off.
Oof.
Yeah, because you're not believing her. Let's say this was 100% happening. Succubus are real, and she was my succubus partner. She lied when she said she wouldn't leave or changed her mind and just left. Yeah, you're still salty after
Jeez,
that.
yeah, like, whoa.
Dude. Or the other possibility is I am crazy. I mean, maybe. Have you been evaluated by a mental health professional? I don't know.
I don't know.
Not thinking so. Could be possible. Okay, so he's decided he's not crazy.
Okay.
Cool. All right. We're operating under the assumption he is not crazy, and this is real.
Yes.
Perfect.
And the fact that I was already beginning to miss the companionship I had felt, I began to look for more answers. So after trying to figure out the best approach,
Oh, God.
I felt there could only be one.
Oh.
This is some teenage boy logic right here.
Mm-hmm.
Repeat the ritual and hope she is summoned again.
Yep.
Because that's how
Yeah.
you get a hold of your demon girlfriend.
Yeah. Just gotta get
Your
rid of
demon
them all.
ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like Elise, you know. Yeah.
Elise!
Oh,
Oh my
gosh.
god.
Honey.
My darling, my dear, my doll.
Yeah.
No.
You don't own them. You don't own me. Sorry.
I'm not just one of your little toys or something like that.
That's what it is. Don't tell me what to say. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe it was like Elise, you know?
Yeah.
I had it had an expiry date. What's an expiry date, my dude?
Bro.
And I had to redo it to keep her around.
Oh my god.
Or you could like leave her an offering and tell her you miss her. Maybe that.
Hey, babe, I got you some flowers.
Yeah. However, I had to make a plan. What happens if that's not the case? What
You
if I
get a
summon a
girlfriend.
different one?
Oh no.
What would I do? I remember feeling very, weirded out by the idea of having such an experience with someone else. I felt like it was cheating.
Oh.
Oh my
Silly,
God.
right? Well, no,
Mm.
you were cheating.
Yeah.
Well, it felt weird, but I felt in that case, it was the only way to get info. So you're rationalizing your bad decisions. Good job, buddy.
Nice.
Again, assuming I'm not going crazy and this is all real. Well, it started off ambiguously. The ritual worked all right, but it was back to stage 1. So just tingles.
Tingles.
Tingle, tingle, tingle. So I let it go for 2 days before learning it was a different succubus. Surprise! Idiots.
Homie, you knew this was going to happen.
Oh, you suspected it might.
Yeah.
And you did it anyway.
Mhm.
This was when I experienced a different route that could have happened. This wasn't such a nice one. She didn't really care and was much more aggressive,
Oh.
which some people would be totally into.
Some people would be into it.
One, she didn't communicate through my head. She was like hearing an actual voice. I whispered, obviously being in my home with my parents, try to explain what's happening if they could hear me, if they come. Oh, God. So really he's worried, like I can't talk too loudly because my parents are going to be like, dude, who the fuck are you talking to? It's 4:00 in the morning. Shut the fuck up and go to bed.
Yeah.
And he's like sexy talking, you know?
Yeah.
Secondly, she was much more feisty.
Ooh.
I felt claws. I woke up the next morning and I felt pain. Yeah, serves you right. I ached. I looked in mirror to see a physical mark that looks like I had been clawed by sharp nails. Again, I am very concerned about what I had got myself into. Well, you fucking should be. At this point, I had asked for a way to get rid of the succubus because she wasn't willing to help at all. Well, what a bitch.
How dare she?
I got an exorcism from my friend and performed it. This friend is not leading you in the right direction, my dude.
Is it the devil type of guy? Is that what he called it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't.
It didn't.
So I'm guessing that
It
the
didn't work.
exorcism did not work. Not at all. If anything, it made that night terribly worse. It hurt a lot. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, dude. That sucks.
That does suck.
It
I'm
felt
sorry.
painful. It was tough. I woke up and had bruised arms and clawed marks on my chest. When still healing, it looked like a cat scratched me, kind of. Luckily, the second option worked. That was to just try to re-summons over this succubus. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sir.
We're gonna summon another one.
Yeah.
This is literally teenager
I
logic.
I know. This is why teenagers shouldn't fuck around with sex magic or sex entities. Sex magic is different than this anyway, you guys. Okay, sorry. That's a whole other episode. It wasn't an idea our good old spiritual buddy had but didn't think would work, but it seems did. Except this time, well, it seems I pissed off Lilith.
Great.
Is that good for you? I didn't have an experience, but rather a very terrifying wake-up. I was woken up at the normal time slot, expecting to try to go through the motions again with a new succubus, hopefully nicer one, only to feel nothing but fear. I truly felt like there was a weight on my chest. Sorry, I needed some water.
Water.
Hydrate.
It wasn't a night terror / sleep paralysis. I was able to get up, move, breathe, but it felt tense. I remember vividly hearing her voice. She asked me about why I had asked for so many wives in
quotations
and why over the first. I tried to plead and explain, only for her to say that my original partner had never returned home and that she is nowhere. It all felt very vague, answers and weird wording. I'm guessing first lady friend was like, fuck this shit. I'm going exploring. Something better has to be out there.
Yep.
Maybe go to Disneyland.
Went on a vacay.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, I don't want to go back to the underworld. I don't want to stay here.
I'm gonna peace out.
Adventure time.
Yes.
That is not the right tune. Sorry.
It's okay.
She explained that she will free me from my contract with everyone besides the first succubus. Well, originally she was going to include her, but I asked not.
Oh my gosh.
I tried to, while she was there, ask questions about succubi and other interests I had. To simplify the experience, the communication I had with her and her answers lined up exactly with how they were accounted for from the Jewish mythology. It was scary how 1-to-1 it was, and I had never digged into Jewish belief history mythology even once. At most, I had only ever shown interest in Greek mythology, if any. So the fact that it all lined up with no previous knowledge was once again too coincidental to just be that.
And you're still gaslighting yourself.
Yes, you sure are. This is like, yeah. This was almost 5 years ago now. I left it untouched as I had to focus on real life. This always stuck out to me as my one paranormal adventure that I will never truly know how true it was. Gaslight.
Yeah.
I recently got back into researching more of this experience, and the info I had that linked up with what could either be intel by a succubus / Lilith or my crazy own imagination. Yet the fact they constantly keep lining up even as I dig deeper is scary. I could go on for even longer about these links if others are interested. I think I'm okay. Blah, blah, blah. So basically, let's skip. I still wonder, where have I been led? Had I simply thrown away all skeptical thought or just blindly followed? Would I have experienced something amazing? Or was that finally the nefarious trick and deceit those say all succubi have? There is so much here I have to still unpack. Okay, sir. Anyway, he fucked around and found out and is still trying to believe that this isn't real.
Yep.
And this is why teenagers shouldn't play around with rituals that they don't know what themselves are getting into. They have no protection. They have no contact with their spirit guides or just anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. Do what you want to do, but also try to be safe.
Yeah. Safety first.
And don't piss off entities from the underworld.
Nope.
If you're gonna summon a succubi, at least have like one of those orange reflective jackets on.
That'll keep you safe.
You safe.
And hide under your sheet if it gets too intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously. That's all you gotta do.
So, any thoughts, feelings, concerns?
That was wild.
That was a wild ride.
All the concerns.
My dude really went through.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad that the one was really aggressive with him.
Yeah.
But that is kind of a common experience with some sexual entities.
But
I don't know. I don't know about like the clawing and scratching. That's kind of rude.
That is kind of rude.
I don't think most entities would do that, but he obviously pissed some people off.
his first succubus
She was just nice and lovely, and she's like, this dude's a shithead. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Man.
That usually be how it be, though.
It's just the hubris that we think we are controlling a whole other entity, and that's my problem. I'm like, you aren't in charge of them. They are way more powerful than you silly little teenager.
The way he said, I need to renew my lease.
Yeah. I was like, I hope you still don't think about your partners this way.
Yeah.
If so, you need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was bananas.
That was
Right.
bananas. I mean, and I've read other ones like this.
Yeah.
But I thought this one was just funny because it was funny to talk about how, like, he felt like he had ownership of it.
Mm-hmm.
When, like, that's just not how that works.
Teenage boy
Owns his own succubus.
Yeah.
Who knows how old, powerful entity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, had he had a different attitude, he could have had a really nice time.
Yeah.
So I've read, like, more romantic stories where they were super lonely and the succubus just came to them, or the incubus, and they were, like, sweet, gentle lovers and kept them company and reassured them and, like, helped them through hard times and gave them encouragement to find a human partner. And, like, there was, no jealousy or malice.
Yeah.
They were just there to help them through and to get some confidence.
Okay.
And, sexy time.
The sexy
The
time.
sexy times. Here's wishing all of you some sexy times with partners or by yourself this Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Yes.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Use protection.
Protection. Be safe.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Spiritual and condoms.
Depending on what kind of shenanigans you're getting into, keep yourself
Yeah.
safe.
Yes.
Please.
And that's all I got.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was wild, right?
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for being here with us
Yeah.
through this fun, diverse group of
This was an
Spooky
adventure.
love.
Yes, it was.
We have social.
We sure do.
We have a TikTok.
Seance with my siblings.
We have an Instagram.
Instagram and a Tumblr,
Mm-hmm. And a Blue Sky. And
a Gmail.
a Gmail where you can send us your spooky stories.
seancewithmysiblings@gmail.com.
Please send us your spooky stories.
Please help
Please.
us out. We have some people begging for listener stories, so we really need some listener stories.
Yeah.
We might even send you a sticker.
Yeah.
Do you want a sticker?
If you want a sticker.
Send us your paranormal stories, and we send you a sticker.
Woo!
And if you want the sticker, you're going to have to give us a place to send it to that you feel
Mhm.
safe for us
Yeah.
to send it to.
Yeah.
We promise
Yes.
we're not going to come find you.
Yeah.
That's weird.
No.
No thanks.
No.
More.
Anyway, thank you for being here with us. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Get some
Get
loving.
some love. Come get your love. Okay, I'm just going to
Okay.
sing this whole time, apparently.
It's a singing kind of day.
It's a singing
It is.
this day. And we will... I know, don't say it. Don't say it.
Wave at the
Wave at the
microphone.
Microphone.